It's Thursday, September 13, and we have a packed info hub for you. We start by telling you that President David Granger believes it is time to reform ChiCom. The head of state says the Carter formula is exhausted. Stacey Carmichael reports.
President David Granger, during his press conference hosted on August 31, expressed his support for the reform of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM. The president said commissioners should be appointed through a parliamentary process. Yesterday, on the sidelines of the swearing-in of the Police Complaints Authority, the president restated this stance.
In my press conference, I compared the present situation to going to a cricket match in which you carry your own umpires. It is really a recipe for conflicts. You know, the PPP nominees will vote for will support the PPP side, and the APNU and AFC nominees will vote to the APNU and AFC side. It is not the type of impartial commitment.
President Granger said the Carter formula, which is currently in use, has exhausted its usefulness, noting that it is more a formula for gridlock rather than consensus.
We have abided by that formula, but as I said, it is exhausted its usefulness. We need to have an impartial process. We have had impartial processes for the Police Service Commission, the Public Service Commission, for most of the commission.
Asked if this reform of the Elections Commission would be possible prior to general elections, the president said this is dependent on the outcome of discussions with the opposition leader. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Local government elections is November 12th, and President Granger wants you to be involved. This was his message to residents of Sisters Village. Anara Khan was on the east bank of Berbice and has a report.
The head of state was at the time speaking at a community meeting in Sisters Village on the east bank of Berbice.
And one of the problems in East Berbice quarantine is the low level of participation in both general and regional elections and local government elections over the years. So the first thing I want to ask you to do in this community is to carry out a massive mobilization exercise so that every adult is brought into the web of local government elections, understands the need for local government elections, participates in local government elections.
The president further explained the importance of governance at the local level.
In local government elections, you don't vote for race. You don't even vote for political party. You vote for your community. You vote for the improvement of your community. That's what you vote for. All of you must know the people in your community who are capable of representing you, who are capable of going out there and fighting for the issues that concern you.
The head of state reminded the residents that for there to be upward movement after local government elections, there must be constant engagement between residents to find solutions to issues on all levels. He reminded residents that unlike regional and general elections, voting must be done in the community in which they were registered. Local government elections will be held on November 12, 2018. This is the second LGE conducted since the government took office in 2015. For InfoHub, Anara Khan.
Dozens of young people from the Sugar Belt are now trained and certified to join the oil and gas industry. Gabriela Patram explains.
Delivering remarks at the graduation ceremony, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu noted that with the petroleum industry coming on stream, persons have to be prepared to meet international standards.
Total Tech aimed to produce 100 graduates in a very short period of time in safety, mainly safety training and techniques to make them prepare and fit and proper for the oil and gas industry. Oil and gas also is new to us, and we cannot go in as a guessing game what could be done or what couldn't be done. It is one industry, I believe, that you have to be prepared, and you have to be prepared with the high standards that are recognized worldwide.
The academy began its third training program in August with the addition of the first Guyanese assistant instructor, as well as 4 new female recruits. One of the new recruits, Marsha James, said she took a leap of faith and applied after reading an advertisement.
I got this call sometime during March for an interview, so it was surprising to me. I did the interview and what have you, and for some reason I was successful. When I found out that there was few women, I kind of felt away, but I still took the challenge. Eventually, when I joined the course, there was a lot of men, so, that kind of encouraged me a little. But, the challenge is there for us as women. It's very hard. I'm not going to say it's an easy course. It's really challenging. But you have to put your best foot forward in getting certain things done.
Her fellow classmate Colleen Moore said she was encouraged to enroll by colleagues who recently graduated.
The training has been incredible. We have been learning a lot. 10 years of training into 8 weeks has been very, very challenging. And we are looking forward to bringing more into the work.
President and CEO of Total Tech, Lars Mangal, said the academy is on track to have over 100 trainees successfully graduate by the end of 2018. Gabriela Patram for InfoHub.
Hello, sir. You can't be smoking with passengers in the car. I got me little child in there. I mean, I can't smoke in your own car.
You know it's against the law for taxi drivers and minibus drivers to smoke, especially when you got a child under 16 in the car.
If you don't like it, go come out my car, man.
Just to let you know, the law states that even if you're in a car alone, you can't smoke because the fumes can get into the fabric and affect your passengers.
Let's all work together to prevent cigarette smoking-related illnesses.
Minister of Finance Winston Jordan has been busy meeting with stakeholders as Budget 2019 preparations continue to move apace. He discussed the sensitive issue of taxes with the private sector.
The minister and his budget team met with executives of the Guyana Gold and Diamond Miners Association and the Georgetown Chambers of Commerce and Industry, respectively.
The familiar game is there, where requests are being made for significant concessions in a number of areas. But I keep stressing that if we give concessions, what are we getting in return for them? That is still an open book question, but we promise them we will take all of their suggestions, recommendations in the context of the Budget 2019, and to the extent that we can fulfill them, we will, whether partially or whole.
Minister Jordan reminded that all concessions should be tied to performance.
We don't just give concessions which are reliefs in certain areas, but an expense to the average citizen. We don't just give it because of that. We expect a benefit down the road, so that in the case of the gold sector, the concessions that we have given, we expect they will result in improved mining practices, improved declarations, and hence improved foreign currency to the Bank of Guyana and taxation and taxes for the government.
The day's consultation started with presentations by GGDMA's chairman, Terence Adams. Adams noted that of priority was the need to add the wording of final tax in the 2018 budget with regards to miners, which he said is causing great uncertainty within the sector. The removal of value-added taxes on excavators and all-terrain vehicles once certain levels of gold and diamond production declarations are achieved was discussed. The GCNCI's consultations followed with executives making cases for tax relief in several sectors. These included the need for more farm-to-market roads in Regions 3 and 5, tax relief on pesticides, passage of e-commerce legislation, tax reform, local content legislation's passage, and modernized financial services legislation. Budget 2019 consultations continue today at the Finance Ministry's boardroom from 2 p.m. Check our website www.dpi.gov.gy for further details. Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
Housing Minister Valerie Adams Yearwood is keen for persons who have their house lot titles to start building immediately. Alexis Rodney accompanied the minister on a visit to the West Side today. Here's her report.
Minister Yearwood was delivering remarks to residents of Region 3 moments before she distributed close to 100 house lots to families in the region. The ministry has made available house lots in the Tushin second phase and Block 8 areas for applicants from as far back as 1989.
I encourage you not to join the bandwagon. You are here, and I believe the reason why you're here is that you need a house lot. Am I correct? And because you need a house lot, I'm here to give you a house lot.
The minister said persons must aid in the process by utilizing the house lots. The distributed lots cost $92,000 for low-income plots and $500,000 for middle income. InfoHub spoke to some of the elated recipients.
Well, I've been waiting for this for about 10 years now, since I applied. And with the minister being here, I guess it's the fastest thing could ever happen.
Well, we are happy for the government give us our land. I'm really thankful.
More than glad, especially for them they got to, we gave to your own place.
Well, you're happy for your children.
Yes, them we really thinking we future for.
A year ago, I moved to Tushin, and I never applied down here, but I wrote in to the minister, and they called me 2 days ago, asking me if I can afford the house lot now, and I am. No, 92,000, yes. Well, as soon as I go and get it located, I got a lot. I will try my best to start because $25,000 a month is real hard for pay house rent. So today I want to thank God that I got through with my house lot and I'm going to build as soon as possible.
Minister Patterson said that the government's objective of securing a good life for all Guyanese is being realized. She stressed that a good life is not having to pay a monthly rent, but rather the ability to own one's own home. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Several ex-sugar workers from Berbice now have the chance to maximize their earning potential after graduating from an industry skills training enhancement program. Tiffany Rodias reports.
InStep is a Ministry of Natural Resources capacity building initiative that was launched in June in collaboration with the Board of Industrial Training and the Gaisuco Training Center, Port Morant. At the graduation ceremony, Minister of Education, Nicolette Henry, noted the training allowed the graduates to participate directly in Guyana's development.
You are now ready either to embark on employment in this region, and that will be supporting the direct and indirect services of petroleum, mining, agriculture, and other economic sectors. Some of you may branch off into creating your own businesses, which in turn will create new jobs for your community.
The graduates were trained in basic welding and fabrication, basic electrical installation, basic motor vehicle servicing and minor repairs, and basic refrigeration at the Gaisuco Training Center. Manager of the Gaisuco Training Center, Jain Ryan Sukpal, commended the graduates for their exemplary performances.
Today is another proud day for the Gaisuco Training Center, as 84 trainees, inclusive of 11 females, are graduating from this elite institution. Their exemplary performance on the job, together with the achievement of 39 distinctions, 25 credits, and 20 passes at their examination is commendable.
InStep seeks to provide support and opportunities to former sugar workers, their families, and others in communities that were dependent on the now closed sugar estate in Berbice. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
As we continue to observe Indigenous Heritage Month, more than a dozen female Tushaus are participating in leadership training facilitated by the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs and the Canadian High Commission. Seneca Thorne has details.
The Tushaus hails from Santa Cruz, Bunbury Hill, Barometer, Santa Rosa, and Red Hill in Region 1, St. Cuthbert Mission Region 4, Kamana, Kabakaburi, and Campbelltown Region 8, Achiwe Region 9, and Great Falls and Moritara Region 10. The training exercise is intended to equip them with the knowledge and expertise to effectively execute their duties. Canadian High Commissioner Lillian Chatterjee explained.
It is our hope that at the end of this training, you, our female Tushao leaders, will have an increased understanding of how your leadership affects your communities, gained and strengthened your skills to identify and respond to issues affecting your fellow Indigenous women and men, gained enough knowledge to take on more leadership roles and help address pressing issues in your community.
The initiative was birthed out of a meeting with the newly elected Tushaus and the High Commissioner during the recently held National Tushaus Conference. Minister Garrido emphasized the fact that more women in leadership positions can translate in increased productivity and better decision making.
Look how many female Tushaus we have now, which means the men are beginning to recognize that our women can be leaders too, and they're willing, just a little bit, to give us a chance. And I think they're looking at us now to see how well we perform. In our homes, we can perform well, because with budgeting, with a little budget, we have to stretch that budget like elastic.
The one-day seminar was held at the Indigenous village at the Sophia Exhibition Center. Topics discussed include women in leadership, gender equality, and roles and responsibility of a leader. Seneca Thorne, InfoHub.
Budget Director Sonia Rupnot says that government's green paper on the Natural Resource Fund was created to ensure accountability and transparency in the petroleum sector. Stacey joins us once again with our final report for the evening.
The Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association, GMSA, today hosted a half-day discussion forum on the government's green paper on the management of the petroleum sector. Budget Director, Ministry of Finance, Sonia Rupnot, speaking at the event, said the objectives of the green paper are threefold: to ensure stabilization, intergenerational savings, and domestic spending on development priorities. She explained the purpose of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, or in the case of Guyana, the Natural Resource Fund.
How you access sovereign wealth funds. And the main trigger, just so that you know, in the context of the Sovereign Wealth Fund is through the national budget process. And let me just explain what I mean by that. There's a perception that the Sovereign Wealth Fund is something parallel, and it's not. It's simply an account that's going to be used to save the money and to have the investments made. And the proposal within the Green Paper sets out a fiscal rule. Options are presented, so we love to get feedback on those options as well, of how you're going to extract resources from the revenues in the Sovereign Wealth Fund to enter the national budget, and within the national budget, guidance on how you spend that money comes through the articulation of the Green State Development Strategy.
Rupnot also encouraged the private sector, civil society and NGOs to get in the loop and attend the countrywide consultations on the Green State Development Strategy, given its importance to the management of the petroleum sector.
There is a lot of consultation happening on those development strategies, which include oil and gas, and so those discussions are ongoing. So please, if you are not yet in the loop, please make sure you get into the loop, because they're making every effort to get people involved. The PR obviously needs to be much, I think, more intense, and they are addressing that, and so you should see a lot more PR coming out now on the Green State Development Strategy.
The outcome of the forum would be a report capturing the perspectives offered, which will be presented to government for consideration. Questions from the audience were directed to the panelists, including Executive Director of the GMSA, Ramesh Duku, University Lecturer Carol Webster, and General Secretary of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, Lincoln Lewis, among others. The Green Paper was laid on August 8 in the National Assembly by Minister of Finance Winston Jordan. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
We close tonight's newscast with the latest CPL update as the tournament comes to an end this weekend with the grand final in Trinidad. Here too are your bridge and weather reports. Don't forget that if you want news updates all day long, send a message to our WhatsApp news service 608-4111. Goodbye.